So many of you already know that I was a scriptwriter in the Philippines, and one of the films that I wrote is actually Super Noypi, which stars Sandara or Dara of 21. And for months and months, there's so many of you asking for like behind the scenes stories, what was Dara like in person. So this much I can say that she is a genuinely nice person. And she's very, very honest but respectful, very outspoken but sweet. She will forever be the pambansang krong-krong ng Pilipinas for me. She would always come to on set on time and prepared. She knew her lines, even her co-stars' lines. She was very respectful of the writers. She would always approach us about details of the scripts, what kind of emotion she's supposed to deliver in a certain scene. At the end of the day, though, when she faces the camera, of course, it's her craft, it's her own interpretation, which I don't mind really. If after some time you get used to actors and actresses just doing their own interpretation of whatever it is that you've written, but just having that sense, feel that amount of respect from the actor, the person that's bringing the character that you made to life, is very flattering for the writers. And so I will never forget that. She made us feel really, really good. Other than that, that's all I would not share anymore. Simply because I'm just not the kind of person that shares private things in public. It's if you want to know more about her and what happened behind the scene, then I guess you should ask her. If she's willing to share it, then she will share it. But I will share something else with you about Super Noypi. I will share stories that know about the characters, specifically about the character of Dara and Jan Prats. Things that no one else would know, actually. So Super Noypi was co-written by Enzo Valdez and co-conceptualized by Edson Rapizora. And I think they're both VPs in Sony Music now. I hope to see them when I go home for a vacation. So Dara's character was actually a witch. And in the story, they just discovered their powers. So they actually, the amount of her knowledge about how powerful she really is limited because she just discovered it. But the initial intent was to actually make it a trilogy. We were supposed to come out with part 2 and then part 3, and then we were going to do comics and stuff like that. And then each character will have their own individual stories and then individual movies. That didn't happen. Okay, so that but her character was a witch, and she has a staff, and the power is actually on the staff, but only she can wield it. Only Dara can wield it because it has to come from the bloodline of whoever owned that staff. So the staff is actually like very, very small and short when she first gets it, but when she uses it, it actually extends. Now the story of that staff is that it came from the wood, the cross that Jesus Christ carried all the way to Golgotha or Golgotha, where he was crucified. So for those of you who are non-Christians, if you're familiar with the story, who Jesus Christ is from the perspective of Christians, he is supposed to be the Son of God, and then he was crucified, and then he died on the cross. So he carried a cross all the way to Golgotha, or Golgotha, I don't know how it's pronounced. So he had a cross which was made of wood. And so when he died and then he was crucified, and so his blood actually, the cross actually got soaked by his blood. So when he died, at that time, the ancestor of Dara was already a witch, but he was an evil witch, and he was already a powerful one, but he wanted to become one of the most powerful, or the most powerful witch. And he knew that the blood of Christ had some power in it, and the blood was on the cross, on the wood. So he scrambled when it was taken down after Jesus Christ died. He scrambled to get a piece of it, and he made sure to get the piece that was really fully soaked in Jesus Christ's blood. And so he did some ceremony. He prayed. He was primarily worshiping the devil, and that's how he got his powers. And so, since his blood, Jesus Christ's blood, was powerful, he was able to wield the staff to have power. And since it had, as I've said, the blood of Christ, and it became the most powerful staff. And part of the ceremony that he performed is that he bonded that the staff to his bloodline, and so it will never be wielded by anybody else but from somebody from his bloodline. So when he had children, he passed it on to his child. Then when that person had a child, it was passed on, and blah blah blah. So his Dara's ancestor is actually that person. Now the question is that does that mean Dara is bad? No, it does not mean that. So one of the things that we actually one of the things that happened during that passing through the lineage is that one, at some point, he had somebody in that bloodline ended up having 2 children, and one child actually ended up being good. Like, he didn't want to continue the black magic thing. So he wanted to stop. But he knew that if he doesn't end up getting the staff from his evil brother, the evil brother will end up continuing what they were practicing, which was evil magic. And so the good brother, decided to steal the staff. Now, because he is also a direct descendant of the evil first witch, then he can also wield that staff. And in fact, the staff is actually neutral. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just powerful. It will do whatever it is that the person holding it will ask it to do. And so he stole it, and then he just went incognito until he died. He eventually ended up having children, he did pass on that secret to his children and told his child of what it can do, but he never actually taught them how to wield it. He just told them how it can be done, but never taught them. So it was sort of, for a long time, that lineage, her family decided they weren't going to practice magic anymore. But then something happened to the parents of Dara, that they were forced to actually wield it again to use their powers. So that's the story of Dara's character. So now let's get to the story of John Prats' character, who's an aswang. His father was a very goofy character. I remember there was this one scene where his father told him, when you're in grave danger, just drink this. So he was given a necklace by his father, and he said, just drink this when you think someone's out there to try and kill you, just drink this. And then he said, after I drink it, what's gonna happen? So John asked his father, what's gonna happen after I drink it? And his father said, just yell really loud, Dara. And so when somebody was out there trying to shoot him or stuff, he didn't know what he was supposed to do. So he drank that, because he always had it on him. He drank it, and he was like, what am I supposed to do? So he actually yelled, Dara. But anyway, he will discover that his father is actually a powerful aswang. Is one of the most powerful in the world. And so when he goes into their world, the underworld, he will realize that his father wasn't a nice father at all, and he wanted to put a stop on this. You know what aswangs do, so that his father wouldn't do it anymore. And he also wants to stop the line. He wants to end it. Like, he doesn't want any more aswangs in the world, because they destroy and they kill people, they eat people and stuff like that. So he doesn't want that anymore. And so he goes on a quest to try and kill his father to end it all. But then other aswangs and other people that he will meet along the way keep on telling him to not do it. Don't try to do that. And he kept on wondering why. But eventually he will discover that, in fact, his father isn't the very first aswang. He is. Like, John Prats is the very first aswang. And in order to protect himself, because he became so powerful and people, you know, like other aswangs were out to kill him, in order to do that, he actually hid himself. So he performed a ceremony that would make everybody forget who he is and make himself forget who he is. But he also sort of cursed those two, the parents, what he thought to be his parents. He cursed them and put like a spell on them for them to think that he is their kid, in order for him to be shielded and hidden from everybody else that was trying to hunt him, and to kill him. So that's his journey. Okay, so he's actually the bad one. Like he's the worst of the worst. All right, so the other layer to that is that this set of parents that he had, they were actually they're actually the good ones. They are like vampire killers. So all right, so he decided, I will get you on my team so that you don't hunt me anymore. Okay, so that is yeah, like we actually wanted to, every character in that story is well developed. We actually went to discuss each of their characters, and we wanted to do a comic series. We wanted to do part 2 and part 3. That didn't happen. Maybe it will happen, I don't know. Okay, but I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks.